All right, so Tom Aspinall and Chael Sonnen got into it. They've gone back and forth. And I want to use this as an example of why conflict is great for MMA, because I think Tom Aspinall is my guy now. Like, I'm being totally serious. Like, this is, like, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I think Tom Aspinall is my guy now. Now, obviously, Francis is a heavyweight. He's the current sitting, reigning heavyweight champion in the UFC. Nothing's going to change that unless someone beats him. But in terms of the rest of the crowd, you know, I'm kind of looking just like, he beat Gone. Stipe, who knows what the hell's going on. John Jones is a mystery. Like, who am I supposed to get behind? Like, who am I supposed to get behind and say confidently, that's the guy? And I'm telling you, that's the guy. That is the guy. Tom Aspinall is the guy. And I'm going to talk a lot about him, and then I'm going to talk about this thing between him and Chael, because there's a lot of actually really interesting kind of things of note relating to this back and forth. And it's actually not going to be as cookie cutter as you might have. If you've watched a million of my videos, I'm sure, if you know what happened between them, I think you would probably think that you know where I'm going with this, but it's not actually. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to talk about all that. Now, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Revolver Watches. Dude, look at this. I got this. Actually, I can't even take it off. I got this in the mail today, sent to me. They're watches that are based on like, they're designed to look like revolvers, you know? So watches and guns, my two favorite things on earth. Give them a look. RVLR on Instagram. They're sick, dude. It's super heavy. Comes with a bunch of different bands. Like, they're not paying me, dude. They're really not. They sent me a watch and they're like, just check it out, man. I was like, dude, this is sick. I'm going to wear this all the time. Thank you very much, man. Really. Anyway, so lots to talk about here. All right. So, by the way, yeah. So subscribe to the channel if you guys like the channel or whatnot, you know. Just support me. That's all I ask for if you like the stuff. So, okay. So let me just kind of like high level run through what the back and forth was. So basically, Chael did a video. I initially did not see the interview that Tom Aspinall did, right? So I didn't see it. I went back and watched it, obviously. But Chael's critique was Aspinall should have someone else doing his interviews for him, or needs someone to coach him through interviews, is the nuts and bolts of it, right? Like, he said it in the Chael way of saying it. But what he was saying was Aspinall needs help in his interviews, right? And so generally, when Chael discusses a fighter promoting themselves, who is better at promoting themselves than Chael? You know, he's not, I mean, he's right, you know, but he's right he's right assuming that your kind of success metrics are the same as his, right? If your success metric is biggest fight possible, if your success metric is speed to title shot or money generated, bigger contract, like if that's what you're after, he's going to be right almost always. Almost always. I do not think he's correct in this. I actually think that, well, we'll get into it. But every other time that he says it, I can't think of a time when I've been like, I don't know, you know? So, you know, like Chael sees all the angles. He sees where there's opportunity for a guy to do something better, do something faster, to make more money, etc. And with Tom Aspinall, the one thing I will say prior to the research that I did as a result of Chael's comments was that after he beat Volkov. Now, one thing I actually should note is if you guys aren't clear on Tom Aspinall's career, okay, he has won all of his UFC fights, okay? He's won all of his, so he's gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 5 fights in the UFC, all wins, all stoppages, all in the first round, except for one, which was a stoppage 1 minute into the second round. He's an absolute killing machine, okay? His other wins, first round TKO, first round submission, first round KO, first round KO. One of his losses is a DQ because he threw an illegal downward elbow. So I'm sure, consider that a win. So his only loss ever was in 2015. He got submitted in a heel hook, okay? He got caught in a heel hook once in his whole career. Every other fight has been a stoppage and early stoppages. And he actually took a 3-year break in the middle of his career where I was like, what happened between 2016 and 2019? And it turns out he went and fought professional boxing because he couldn't get any fights in England. And he went 1-0 with a first round knockout in boxing. Okay. His amateur career are all first round stoppages, except for one. He went to decision once. It's the only time he's ever gone to decision in his amateur career. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first round stoppages and 1 win by decision. So he's 6'5", 255. He is a force of nature. He's a fucking killing machine. I saw him fight Volkov and was like, holy shit. Because Volkov is a problem, dude. Like, Volkov is a problem. He is not an easy fight for anybody. He's a really, really tough guy, especially since he filled out. You know, like, he lost that one fight. I can't remember exactly who it was. But he came back up like 34 pounds with that sick-ass samurai tattoo on his back. He has the second best tattoo in the UFC. Without a shred of doubt, Sean Brady has the best tattoos in the UFC. No close second place. By far, he's the best. But then Volkov's back tat is sick as fuck. Anyway, Aspinall just ran through him, dude. Absolutely ran through him. He won in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. I think he won by, first round submission, armbar. So, and look, his wins too are spread out. He's got 9 knockouts, 3 submissions. He is a problem, dude. Like a serious problem for anybody. He's a terrible matchup for anybody. So I'll say this though, after the fight, when they put the microphone in his face, he didn't, what I noticed was not that he's a bad interview, not at all. He's actually really charismatic, but he didn't try to push for a really big fight. And he had just won by first round stoppage in the main event. I found that it was like out of it. Like normally that's what everybody does. They're trying to push for big fights. And he definitely 100% did not do that. He didn't ask for a title shot. He didn't ask for someone big. Like he just didn't, you could tell he just didn't push the issue. And so I took a note of that, right? Just kind of like, does he not realize what he just did? That's because I remember thinking that, like, I'm like, does he not realize he just ran through Volkov? And does he not realize how light the heavyweight division is right now? Like there's no real guys there right now. No, I mean, there's no real guys, but if Francis is a question mark, like you have as good a shot at getting like an interim title as anybody if you push the envelope. That, so I remember thinking that. So that was basically all I had seen of Aspinall. I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm not talking about his record. Just that fight, one of his other fights, and then that, kind of noting that. So when Chael said the thing about him, needing coaching in interviews, I was like, I already kind of was like, okay, I bet I know what he means, right? Like he probably, Aspinall probably is doing the same thing in his interviews, or he's not pushing, he's not selling, whatever. And then I read that Aspinall had said back, like, I'm good, dude. I don't need to play a character. I'm just going to be myself, right? And I didn't watch that. Like, I didn't see him actually say it, where he was like, I'm not going to, like, he basically was like, I'm not going to be some WWE character, and kind of threw it back at Chael. And he also said I wasn't asking for advice. So to be perfectly frank, I actually didn't even see the full interview of what Chael was saying. I read what Chael had said, and then I read what he responded. And then I watched the video of Chael responding, and I could tell that Chael took it kind of like, oh, really? Because Chael's video response, which I watched this morning, was like, he's laying out accurate statements, which is he's like, look, the entertainment era started with me, which is accurate, Like he was the first guy that was really selling fights hard. And, in a nutshell, Chael was just basically laying out like, here's why I'm credible. And I'm trying to explain to you that if you want better outcomes, that this is what, take it or leave it kind of. But one thing that he mentioned in there was he said, in your interview, why are you talking about Francis? And I was like, wait, what? And then so I went back and watched Tom's interview. And I was like, oh, I see. So not only was Tom not kind of pushing, but he said he wanted to see Francis fight Tyson Fury. He said that in the interview. I was like, okay, now this is starting to become more clear. Like the reason it set Chael off is Chael and the brass do not want that fight for whatever reason. That, you know, I mean, well, it's not rocket science, right? It's like they don't want that fight because, candidly, I am more and more kind of starting to get to the place there. It's not just about not wanting UFC fighters to go get a huge payday in boxing, although that's huge. But I think they think that Tyson Fury is going to fucking piece Francis up. And is that good for the UFC brand? Right now you have the most badass dude on the planet, right? And Markel is Markel's my fucking boy. I'm like, he's literally coming out and they're going to stay at our house to look at houses out here. Like, Markel is my dude, man. Like, he's my dude. And so, like, I'm not, but like, as an objective fight analyst, like I said, I've like, Francis Ngannou has proven a million times over that counting him out, that's what everybody's always done. And he's always beat the odds. But just as like an objective fight analyst, if they, like, in a boxing match between Tyson Fury and Francis, I can't think of a bigger underdog that I've ever. You know what I mean? Honestly, like, I can't think of a time where I've seen two guys that were going to fight where I was more confident that one guy was probably going to win, except for maybe Amanda Nunes versus Pena. Look how that turned out. But so I think a lot of it has to do with that, where the UFC, like think about the branding. He goes and gets paid $35 million, which, of course, here's the thing, dude. If you're going to get paid $40 million, dude, like, there are people who would go and get their dick cut off for $40 million on national television. I mean, it's a lot of money. Like, all he has to do is just go take a huge mismatch combat sport. Worst case scenario, he gets pieced up and knocked out. I mean, like, you're not going to take that deal, of course. You know, of course you take that deal. But for the UFC, it sets a terrible precedent. So they, you know, bottom line, they do not want that fight. Okay. So Tom Aspinall talked about that in his interview. And so I would be shocked if that at least wasn't part of why it set Chael off. Because he's like, you know, you're not promoting yourself, and instead you're promoting the current sitting heavyweight champion in your division in a super fight external of the UFC. Like, bro, you know, what are you doing? But here's the thing. Like I said, I actually don't agree with Chael in this one case when it relates to Tom. Because ultimately, let me actually rewind. So the reason why normally if a person's not selling themselves, if they're not pushing the envelope, trying to get big fights, okay, you know, or trying to make more money, whatever, then it's just like their career progresses much slower. And sometimes they'll even straight up miss their opportunities. Look at Leon Edwards, also from the UK, right? He is just painfully shy. He's a shy dude, and he just can't get himself to where he will promote himself. He just won't do it. Now, Tom Aspinall is not even in the same category as Leon, but I'm just saying from a is Chael making good recommendations, you know, perspective, he is, right? But again, until I actually watched Tom's interview, because I went back and watched it and I was like, oh no. At least in my opinion, I think Tom Aspinall is exactly right in how he's doing this, because what he's got going, he's from England, dude. He's from England, and he's not meek. He's a fucking gangster. You know, he carries it just like, yeah, man. He's like, a few of my, yeah. You know, if I have the choice between fighting in Vegas in front of nobody or fighting in the O2 Arena in England, give me England. You know, a bunch of my buddies got arrested. That's how it goes. He's got a chew in. You know, I'm pretty sure he had a chew in. Like, he's charismatic. He's speaking very kind of, I don't know, in the way that you want a person to talk if you're a fight fan. He's like a naturally aggressive, confident dude. And so when he says, no, I'm not going to do that shit. Like, I'm not going to play a WWE character. Okay, when you're from England, okay, your best case scenario, can you think of anybody who has literally written the blueprint of how to be a fighter in England? Michael Bisping, of course. Bisping and Darren Till. Right? Bisping and Till are perfect examples, right? Because you can, like, that fan base, the English fan base, they want to get behind blue collar fucking guys like that. Guys who grew up in England, hard in the streets, like doing it, and then now they're like, and they really, you know, they know they're carrying the country on their back. Bisping, obviously, Bisping had one of the most incredible careers of anybody ever. By the way, if you haven't watched If you have not watched Bisping's documentary yet, do it. And here's the other thing. And then if you have watched that documentary, nonetheless, go watch My Destiny on YouTube. It's the older one, the one that UFC did. Like I'm not joking. Like, it doesn't, if you've seen one, you still have to see the other. And if you see the one, you got to see the other. Like, they're both so good and they're both different enough that it won't feel like you're, kind of replaying the same stuff. But that's like the British fans, they grab a hold of that story right there. And Bisping and Till are perfect example. And Tom is that dude. Exactly what he's doing is going to work, especially because he's saying, like, I want to fight in England. I want to fight in front of my face. He knows. I don't know if he's like consciously being like, I want to play it like Bisping and Till, or just being himself. He's like, I want to fight in front of my guys. I want to fight in front of my home country fans. That shit is going to fucking work, or is already working. Like, he's going to become an international superstar by the English fans elevating him. And so I think he's playing it exactly right. And, again, I actually, it's possible that he said other stuff that I didn't see, and maybe Chael had other specific examples that he was citing, but I don't know. In my brief bit of research, and like I said, I almost never disagree when Chael's like, this guy, especially about this category. Like, I almost never feel like, this is kind of a good point, but like, I always am just like, oh, he's right. He's right for sure. But I think in this case, the only thing I would question actually is why he's not pushing for like a title shot or like a really, again, he has a fight. He's fighting Curtis Blades. If he runs through Curtis Blades and he's not pushing for an interim or title, I don't understand that. There's no reason for him to be scared of anybody in the heavyweight division. Against anyone but Francis, you got to have him as a favorite. At least based on what I've seen, Gane, that's Cyril Gane. That's an interesting fight for sure. But Aspinall is a destruction machine. He's a fucking murder machine. And he can take Gane down, If Gane is too kind of elusive, he can take him down. I'm sure Gane is training a lot on that, but I don't know. I just saw Gane, doing his standard training, same team. I don't know what they're, I don't know if he has kind of world-class wrestlers added to his training regimen like Francis did. The reason why Francis became a good wrestler is because he implemented that into his entire camp and his entire focus. He's got guys like Kamaru, So, yeah, listen, like, I would just say, like, Tom Aspinall was kind of like, he was on my radar, obviously, because he's really good. But after this, I would like, thank you, Chael and Tom. I wouldn't have looked at this closely had this not happened. And I'm excited about Tom Aspinall, man. Like, I'm really excited about his career. I use the term bullish a lot, but I am incredibly bullish about his career. Like, incredibly bullish about his career. And the thing is, that Curtis Blades fight, that is a real fucking fight. That's a serious fight right there. Because Curtis Blades, in his last fight, remember, he can strike now. Like, he figured it out. Like, he looked, in his last fight, he looked very different on the feet. Great footwork. He's sticking a really, really tight jab. Did he win? How did he win that fight? How did he win? Because I'm pretty sure he won by second round knockout, maybe third round knockout, if I'm remembering correctly, and you guys are going to get to find out. Second round knockout, that's right. Yeah, dude, and you look at Curtis Blades, since he lost to Francis in 2018, he beat Justin Willis, he beat Amaragov, he beat Junior Dos Santos by knockout, he beat Volkov, where he very handily won that fight. Then he lost to Derek Lewis. He was winning that fight, he just got caught. And then he beat Rosenstreich handily, and then that dude, it seemed to me like there was a massive jump in his striking between the Rosenstreich and Chris Dawkins fight. So that's a great fight. So if Aspinall gets through him, if Aspinall like first round finishes him in the first round, dude, look out, man. Real talk. Look out. Anyway, I'm really excited. So that is what I have. Oh, so we have a winner of the Jordans from last month, and that is Fernando Navarez. And I just texted him to get his Instagram because I can't seem to find it. I thought I had him send it to me when he did like the entry, but yeah, I will plug his Instagram. I'll put his Instagram on my Instagram so everybody could see who won. I just shipped the I went through a ridiculous process trying to get the Jordan from the previous month to our winner Dan Onishenko. And I finally, I ordered them. It's a long story. But they are en route to him now. These are the ones that I got him. And the reason I got him those is because I was wearing those on my feet. And I'm like, these are so sick, dude. They're called the Jordan Maxin 200s. Maxin. Those are the ones that he got. Fernando, I'm going to ask him what he wants, within reason. He's all, yo, get me those Travis Scotts, dog. I'm like, I am not buying you $4,000 shoes, bud. If I'm going to spend $4,000 on shoes, they're going on my motherfucking feet, son. But anyway, congratulations, Fernando, although you already know that you won. But shoot me that Instagram ASAP, and I will plug it on my Instagram. And yeah. Yep. Dude, I told you guys that I'm also doing a drawing for IP Vanish. I have so few entries on the IP Vanish one that I just haven't done the drawing. Okay. So if you buy IP Vanish, it's not expensive. You need it anyway. And then send me the receipt. That's ipvanish.com/JESSE and then promo code JESSE. But I need to get at least 10 entries before I do the drawing. I don't have 10 entries for that one. I got we got a solid number for Sheath, last month anyway. And we'll do that. We'll do the drawing for this, or I'll announce that one sometime this weekend. But yeah, for IP Vanish, I'm telling you, dude, you got a good shot. And IP Vanish, you should have it anyway. ipvanish.com/Jesse and then promo code Jesse, JESSE. Anyway, love you guys. That is what I got. And look out for me and Gabrielle's new channel, dude. Me and Gabrielle are doing a new channel. I should probably stick this at the front of the video. It's called Couple on Fire. And you know what? I'm not even, there's no point in me plugging this until I have the intro, but we're going to talk about sex and shit a lot. Cause we had people submit questions. It's ridiculous, dude. It's every single question is how many times do you guys have sex a week? It's tell me about the first time you guys had sex. It's all right, what else you got? Do you get jealous when you think about blah, blah, blah? And then we get some ones that are they think that they're going to get us to fight. It's which of your exes was the best in bed? It's whoa. They obviously weren't good enough, were they? Weren't good enough. Anyway, that's enough for now. Love you guys. Peace.